The movie begins with two siblings, Andy and Piper. Piper is partially blind, and Andy is taking her home from school. They reach their house, and after some time Andy steps outside to fix the side mirror of the car. Piper comes out calling him and tells him that their dad has been in the bathroom for a long time, and he is not responding. Both of them go inside. Piper goes to the kitchen, picks up a spoon and hands it to Andy so he can open the locked bathroom door. Andy manages to push the lock open, and the moment he sees inside he becomes stiff with shock. Their father is lying on the floor naked and dead, in a very strange and mysterious condition. Piper asks her brother what happened, but Andy is too shaken to speak. After this incident, a counselor named Wendy sends the two siblings to a foster mother named Laura, and they move into her house. Laura welcomes Piper with a lot of affection, but she hardly pays attention to Andy. Laura already has a foster son living with her named Oliver. Laura takes Piper into the room of her dead daughter Cathy and tells her she will stay there. Andy, on the other hand, is given a small upstairs room that looks more like a storage space. Andy sits on his bed and starts chatting with a friend, telling him about his new foster family. Suddenly, Laura enters his room and starts talking to him. She asks whether he plans to apply for Piper's guardianship. Andy tells her that he will turn 18 in 3 months, and once he does, he will apply to become Piper's legal guardian. Laura says she is also a counselor and that she will observe his behavior over these 3 months before deciding whether she should support his guardianship request. Piper calls out to Andy from downstairs. Andy stands near the door and talks to her. When he turns around, he sees that Laura is holding his phone. Shocked and irritated, he snatches it back and says, "Sorry, but I don't like anyone going through my things." Laura gets nervous and walks away, saying, "So you think Oliver is a weirdo? Excuse me." Night falls. Someone inserts a cassette into a video player, and a strange ritual video starts playing. Andy is fast asleep when a bright light suddenly flashes through his window. He looks outside and sees Laura and Oliver walking toward a shed late at night. The scene cuts, and morning arrives. Laura is near the swimming pool painting something. Andy wakes up and realizes that he has wet his pants during the night. He quietly goes to the bathroom to wash his clothes. Then scene shifts to Andy and Piper attending their father's funeral along with Laura. When everyone steps outside, Laura approaches their father's body to say goodbye and secretly cuts off some of his hair. Meanwhile, at home in his room, Oliver smashes the sliding glass door with his hand, severely injuring it before stepping outside. While driving home with the kids, Laura notices that Andy and Piper look sad. To cheer them up, she spends the evening with them at home, talking, sharing drinks, and enjoying the night together. Piper eventually falls asleep. Laura and Andy sit together and share their painful memories. Laura tells him that her daughter Cathy died after hitting her head in the swimming pool. Andy reveals that their father used to abuse him but never touched Piper, so she has no idea what their father was really like. Later that night, Andy and Piper fall asleep. Laura goes to the bathroom, urinates in a jar, takes it to Andy's room and pours it on his pants. Then she grabs his phone, unlocks it using his face, and deletes Oliver's photos from the gallery. Through the window she sees Oliver standing inside the pool. She brings him inside to the washroom, cleans his injured hand, and tells him, "You'll have to wait a little longer. I know you're hungry." But Oliver remains silent. Laura then says, "How do I know it's you who's inside?" As she says this, the water tap suddenly turns on by itself. Steam appears, something unusual shows up in the mirror, and then the mirror shatters. Laura steps back, frightened. The scene cuts to the next morning. Andy wakes up and sees that once again he has wet his pants. He quietly picks up his clothes, but as he opens the washroom door, he finds Laura and Piper already standing there. Laura grabs his clothes forcefully, sniffs them, and looks shocked. "You wet your pants? Go take a shower." Andy feels bad and then goes to the bathroom. After Andy leaves, Laura tells Piper, "I think your brother isn't well. Last night after drinking he got very aggressive. I'll tell you more in the car." Andy goes to the bathroom but gets flashbacks of his father's death. Scared, he rushes outside and bathes under a water tap instead. Oliver watches him from his window, kills a fly with his hand, and keeps staring. Andy mistakes this for a greeting and waves at him. Oliver then picks up the dead fly and eats it. After a while, Andy goes to Oliver's room. The door is locked. He's shocked why Oliver's room door is locked. He grabs a knife, returns and forces the lock open. Oliver is standing inside. Andy asks Oliver if he's okay or if he's hungry. He takes Oliver to the kitchen, sits him down and tries to make him talk, but Oliver remains silent. So Andy gives him a pen and paper and asks him to write instead. Oliver begins writing something. Andy cuts some fruit and feeds it to Oliver, handing him the knife. When Andy looks down to grab a plate from the drawer and turns back, he's horrified to see Oliver chewing on the knife, blood dripping from his mouth. Andy quickly pulls the knife out, but it only makes the injury worse. Andy tries to take Oliver to the hospital, but Oliver refuses to cross the white line marked on the ground outside. Andy forcefully drags him past it, and Oliver immediately starts screaming and behaving erratically. As Andy watches in shock, he notices something moving beneath Oliver's stomach. Suddenly Oliver whispers, "Help me." At that moment, Laura and Piper arrive. Laura screams at Andy, demanding to know how Oliver got outside. She tells Andy to take Piper inside. Andy goes in and finds the paper Oliver was writing on. Something is written there. Scene shifts. Oliver is shown lying in his room. Laura is sitting nearby, watching a disturbing ritual video on TV. The TV shows strange chanting and creepy visuals. Oliver slowly regains consciousness. He looks around in confusion and asks Laura, "Who are you? What do you want?" Laura doesn't answer. She just turns the TV volume up and the ritual chanting gets louder. Hearing the chanting, Oliver starts screaming in pain. Laura covers his mouth with her hand, touches his forehead with her finger in a strange manner, and Oliver suddenly becomes calm and quiet. Andy and Laura come to the Oliver's room, but the door was locked. They knocked to know about Oliver's condition. Laura comes out. Andy tells Laura that Oliver said, "Help me." Laura gets angry and scolds Andy for entering her room without permission. "Why did you go into my room? You should respect my privacy." Then, she takes Piper with her into the room and locks the door again. Scene shifts again. Andy is taking a shower when he suddenly spots his father's figure behind the fogged bathroom glass. Shocked, he freezes in place. The ghostly image of his father whispers, "She will die in the rain." Andy panics and tries to escape the bathroom. He slips on the wet floor, hits his head badly and blacks out. After a while, Andy wakes up in a hospital bed. Outside the window, heavy rain pours down. Doctors and nurses rush to his side as he tries to get up, struggling to leave, but they hold him back and restrain him. Meanwhile at Laura's house, Laura is watching old videos of her daughter Cathy on TV. Piper walks in and says she misses Andy. Laura replies, "Me too." After a while, Laura goes to the hospital to meet Andy. Andy immediately asks, "Where is Piper?" Laura tells him Piper is fine and at home. Andy tells Laura about the vision he saw in the bathroom and warns her, "Don't take Piper outside in the rain." Laura, shocked, asks him why. Andy replies quietly, "Because my father told me." Laura freezes, stunned, then says, "That's impossible. I killed your father." But she quickly changes the topic, leaving Andy confused and unsure. From this moment, it becomes clear that Laura was the one who killed his father. Laura pretends to calm him and promises she'll be careful. Scene shifts. Laura returns home and takes Piper outside into the rain. The two begin playing in the rain happily. Then Laura takes Piper to a storeroom outside the house and makes her wear Cathy's sweater. Laura tells Piper she wants to show her something. She guides Piper's hand to touch. Something very cold. Piper feels the shape and asks, "What is this?" "It's so cold," Laura tells her. "It's just meat," but in reality, it's Cathy's frozen dead body, lying inside the tub. Scene shifts. Andy is discharged from the hospital. Laura drives him home. Piper is sleeping when he arrives. Andy sits beside her for a while. Then, on Laura's request, he goes to his room and starts exercising. Laura secretly resumes her rituals. Standing behind Oliver, she traces strange symbols on his head with her finger while a disturbing ritual video plays on the TV. After that, Laura takes Andy's perfume, sprays it all over herself, and quietly enters Piper's room. While Piper is asleep, Laura suddenly hit her very hard on the face and leaves. Piper screams in pain. Andy is shown sleeping deeply. Scene shifts. Morning comes. Andy comes downstairs. Laura and Piper are already standing there. Andy is shocked when he sees Piper's swollen eye. He asks her, "Who did this?" Laura immediately claims, "You did it. Piper smelled your perfume in her room, and you're the one who slashed Oliver's mouth with a knife. You're abusive, Andy." Andy denies it, but before he can speak further, he notices Oliver standing outside in the rain, staring directly at him. Andy starts filming him on his phone. Andy points and asks Laura why Oliver is standing outside. Laura grabs Andy's phone aggressively. Both of them argue. Andy gets angry and punches a cupboard. Laura pretends as if the punch hit her and begins acting hurt. Piper screams and tells Andy to stop. Andy calms down and tells Piper, "We can't stay here anymore. We have to leave." But Piper refuses to go with him. Heartbroken and angry, Andy leaves the house alone. Scene shifts. Andy takes his car and drives straight to the police station. While waiting inside, he sees a missing person board, and one photo shocks him. It's Oliver's photo. Oliver is actually a missing boy. Andy rushes to Wendy, the counselor who sent them to Laura's home. He tries explaining everything, but Wendy refuses to believe him. She says, "Laura already told me everything about you." Andy shows her the missing kid pamphlet and says, "This boy is living with Laura." Meanwhile, Laura drops Piper at school. When Laura comes back home, she finds the entire place in a mess. Suddenly Oliver appears, looking horrifyingly aggressive. He attacks Laura violently. Oliver bites her hand and rips flesh out. Blood pours from her hand. Laura panics and hides inside a room, locking the door. Outside, Oliver tries to chew a table. His teeth break, and then he starts eating the flesh from his own hand. After a while, Laura regains strength, wraps her bleeding hand with cloth, and comes out. She sees Oliver standing near the pool. She draws strange signs on the glass wall. Oliver comes close and calms down. Laura takes Oliver into the shed, toward Cathy's frozen body tub. The camera shows only the outside of the shed. Horrifying screams are heard. Meanwhile, Andy is in a car with Wendy, heading toward Laura's house. He calls Piper and apologizes and warns her. But Laura has Piper's phone and listens to everything. She now knows Wendy and Andy are on their way. Laura quickly cleans the entire house in panic. After some time, Wendy and Andy arrive. Wendy goes toward the main door and tells Andy to stay in the car. Laura opens the door and takes Wendy inside, showing her the house. Andy steps out of the car and goes toward the shed. He breaks the shed's lock with a heavy object. When he looks inside, he is horrified. Oliver is eating Cathy's dead body. Inside the house, Wendy apologizes to Laura for disturbing her. Laura says it's okay, but Wendy notices blood dripping from Laura's hand and smearing onto her face. Wendy asks about it. Before Laura can react, Andy screams outside. Laura tries to stop Wendy from going outside and says, "Don't go there. I'm doing something important. I can bring Cathy back. Please help me. You're my friend." Wendy pushes her away and runs outside. Andy shows her the horrifying scene inside the shed. Wendy is shocked. The two rush back toward the car. But suddenly, Laura drives her car straight into them, hitting both Wendy and Andy. Wendy dies instantly. Andy lies injured. Laura grabs his head and pushes his face into muddy water, drowning him, and kills Andy. After killing Andy, Laura goes to Piper's school and picks her up. She starts taking Piper with her. On the way, a woman tries to talk to her about Piper's eyes, but Laura ignores her and keeps walking. Laura and Piper arrive home. Suddenly, Piper hears Andy's voice calling her name. She follows the sound into a room and finds Oliver standing there. But it's Andy's voice coming from Oliver's mouth. Piper slowly steps closer and reaches out to touch his head. The moment her hand makes contact, she realizes this isn't Andy. Just then, Laura enters the room and asks, "Why did you come in here?" Piper replies, "He sounded like Andy. He was calling my name." Without saying a word, Laura quickly pulls Piper away. As they leave, Piper asks her, "Who is he?" Laura replies, "He's Oliver." Piper then asks, "What is his hair like?" Laura says, "Red, thick and curly." Piper stops immediately because she knew that Oliver was almost bald. His hair was never thick or curly. Realizing the danger, Piper pulls herself away from Laura and runs. She rushes into a bathroom, closes the door and locks it quickly. Inside the bathroom, Piper's foot hits something. She bends down to feel it with her hands. As she touches the face, she realizes it's a body. When her hand moves across the face, she recognizes it. It's Andy. Piper starts crying and begs Andy to wake up. Laura breaks into the bathroom. She comes inside and tells Piper to come to her. Piper asks, "What do you want to do to me?" Laura answers, "I want to drown you in the pool outside." Hearing this, Piper quickly picks up something and throws it at Laura's face. Then Piper runs out of the bathroom, but she crashes into an iron pillar, hits her head and falls unconscious. Laura grabs Piper by her feet and drags her outside toward the swimming pool. She lifts Piper and pushes her into the water, trying to drown her. Oliver arrives there too. Laura forces Piper's head underwater. Piper wakes up underwater and starts struggling. She reaches up with her hand and accidentally touches Laura's face. As soon as Piper's face comes above the water, she screams loudly, "Mommy!" Laura freezes, tears fill her eyes. She suddenly remembers her own daughter Cathy, who died in the same pool after hitting her head, and who also screamed, "Mommy!" in the exact same way. Overwhelmed, Laura stops and lets Piper go. Piper crawls out of the pool and runs into the nearby forest. She reaches the road where a passing car sees her and stops. Oliver chases her into the forest. Laura returns to the shed. She cuts her own hand and lets blood drip onto Cathy's frozen body. As her blood falls on Cathy's corpse, Oliver suddenly regains his senses. He starts screaming and crying in pain. A little while later, the police arrive. They find Oliver in agony. In a weak voice, Oliver tells them, "My name is Connor Bird." After that, the police go inside the house and they find Laura. She had committed suicide by drowning herself in the same swimming pool, holding onto her daughter Cathy's dead body. The scene shifts. Piper is shown sitting inside a car, being taken away safely. And this is where the movie ends. Guys, personally, I didn't enjoy the ending. I would have loved to see Andy alive, and it should have been Andy who saved Piper. But I think the movie makers decided to try something different. How did you find this movie? Tell me your opinion. In the comments, like this video and subscribe to our channel Crax. We will return soon with a new story.